All right, everybody, welcome to this special edition of the After Action Report. I am very, very happy that you have decided to join us this evening. Also, very happy to those of you watching the replay on our YouTube feed here. But right now, I do want to remind you that the show is thankfully brought to you by Admiral Tater's Ship Shops. You can get the absolute best in accessories. In fact, I'm getting ready to order a new case for everything and a tray for my measuring rods there from Admiral Tater's. Great stuff. If you've played in a tournament, odds are you've probably seen this stuff for prize support. Highly recommend you checking out the shop and heading out there. Want to welcome you to the show. Very special show because, yes, we are going to be talking about the updates. I'm not going to waste a lot of time with the normal introductions or anything like that. We are probably going to go a lot longer than what we normally go. But we do have with us tonight Garrett. We have Reuben. And we have Nick. And then we've got me, who's just kind of pushing buttons and making sure that everybody else can be heard. So, welcome, guys. Like I said, we do have a lot to talk about. So, where do you want to start?
Does that's
Hold on. The tech monkey messed up, so let's start from the top. As far as
no, we're not streaming.
As far as
audio.
No, we were streaming. The audio was dead. That
Oh no!
on me.
Audio GG.
And, well, hey, if we're still dead, hey Garrett, if you see anything,
No, we're not dead. we are not. We are live now. It just I had to open up the audio.
You got it.
All right, back from the top.
Okay, so back from the top. From everything or from this?
We're going to be
generic.
Yeah, let's just start with the generics. Everybody knows Garrett. Everybody knows Reuben. Everybody knows Nick. Hi, guys. I messed up on the...
Everybody. So we're talking about points changes. If you're not aware, I think everybody is if you play Armada right now. We got big points changes this week. So we saw a ton of reductions in points, upgrades and ships that were not used very frequently. We saw some increases in stuff that was maybe a little imbalanced. And then a lot of some rule clarifications and changes we'll get to later in this episode. Right now, we're going through some just general minor changes they made to upgrades that didn't see a lot of use. So we've got engineering team, lost 2 points. That was the support team slot that lets you get an extra point when you do an engineering command. So now it's 3 points instead of 5. it was way too expensive at 5. Heavy fire zone, turbo laser slot, it lets you turn your blue flak into red flak as long as you're not shooting unengaged ships. Nobody ever ran it. Now it's 2 points. If you have nothing, no points
You'll
left,
never
I guess
take
it's there.
You'll
You still never
won't
take it. It's still not good. It could be free and you'd still never take it. Repair crews, 3 points from 4. I think that's pretty healthy for where it's at. That lets you repair a damage card on another ship with a Gazanti or support flotilla. Support officers, now 2 points from 4. I think this is the one where you can discard him to discard your command or your whole command stack. Right?
Something like that.
Everybody,
Yeah.
I've never used it. I don't. I guess it's useful now. 2 points is fine. Veteran captain is now 2 points from 3 points. That was the one that lets you discard him for a command token once a game. 2 points is fine. Weapon battery text now 4. Yeah, it's a Hondo. You only get 1 token instead of 2, but you're not giving your opponent any. So, and weapons battery text now 4 points from 5. It was good before. It's even better now because it's cheaper.
Yeah. So two of these. So Nick has columns. He has minor, pretty good and impactful. And I just want to say, engineering team at 3 points is a really good card to put on these cheap MC80s now, with MC Exodus fleet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden now,
Okay.
MC80s and Rebels can, for free, get 3 engineering points for just having a token. And that doesn't count the token or dial. That's going to be very useful. Because Akbar MC80s don't need engine techs. Because they can just sit there and artillery shoot you. And you're not going to kill them with this many engineering points.
And I run engineering teams for fleet too. So technically I gained, 3 more points of bid. So that fleet would be at 15 bid now instead of 12.
Yeah, more room for squads. Aces. But cool. Yeah, I love it. Like you said, weapon battery text. Good card. Awesome card now. 4 points for that is a deal.
Weapon battery text at 4, and what's changed with the ion cannons make the ion cannon slot really good at doing some very specific things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of. There's so many upgrades that even if it got like a 1 point difference, or even if it went up, there's so many things that have changed now that are going to synergize better than before. So I'm just excited. We saw a lot more reductions than we saw increases. So all in all, there's just gonna be more Armada, right?
Yeah. All right, let's move on to pretty good, Nick. Tell me what's pretty good.
Pretty good for our generic upgrades. Damage control officer dropped 2 points. 3 point officer. Now, a lot of people may not have run this card, but let me tell you, I love this card. I ran this on my super at Worlds because when you're running like a superstar destroyer or any just like large ship, if you don't have a better officer, which is, I think the big thing here is the officer slot is so competitive on so many ships. Damage control officer is when you spend a contain token, you nullify all crits. Your opponent can't do APTs, overload pulse, anything like that. And so it's really good at protecting your large ships against like a crit heavy meta. I think that's going to be really important now that a lot of these crit effects are either cheaper or easier to get. So I think we're going to see more DCOs.
I don't think it overcomes your generic stable of these are the obviously good defensive commanders officers like Whalix, Blissix, or ESDs. But on things like the Starhawk, now I think you legitimately think about, do I take Ramus and Whalix, or do I take Whalix and DCOs? And you think you make a meta consideration about what you're expecting to face.
DCO with a Bale Venator is really useful because you don't need any of those specialty officers.
Yeah. And things like the Starhawk, the Rebel Providence, the Superstar Destroyer have multiple officer slots. So she does a really good job filling in that, secondary slot too. But moving on, like I said, we've got 100 upgrades to get through. Dual turbo laser turrets is now 4 points from 5 points. Now, the reason this is pretty good is we're going to get to it later, but everybody's favorite turbo laser upgrade, which will remain nameless until its chosen time, is now no longer as good as it used to be. So dual turbo laser turrets is your really good red dice reliable. Now that it's cheaper, you're going to be able to put that on some of your small ships. It's still not going to be, it's not better than turbo laser rewrite circuits. So like CR90s and Architects are still probably going to take TRCs, but now you have the option with DTTs at 4 points to just have a cheap, add a die, and cancel another die. One big thing to remember with DTTs, since it did not see a lot of play before now, is that you can also, you add the die before you choose one to cancel. So if you roll blank or if you just want to fish for something better, you can always cancel the die you add.
Now, the question I would have on that with that upgrade, do you think that is better than linked? Or not linked, but slaved?
Slaved?
Situational.
Different than slaved. It's just, I would still probably go on slaved and an Architens, because an Architens is not typically going to double arc. But any ship that wants a double arc, like a assault frigate, a lot of rebel ships want double arc. Some Imperial ships, like I would never run slaved on like an Imperial Star Destroyer, just because you want to get that double arc. But I might run DTTs now because I can throw an extra, hey, I roll out my side, I throw a red dice, it gets a blank, I'm going to use my, exhaustible upgrade, throw an extra red, hey, it's a hit. All of a sudden now I've improved my damage.
It comes down to the bell curve of your reds. So when you're firing a 3 reds in your die pool, DTTs will be pretty much as effective as LTTs. Technically, based on a binomial distribution, it's a little bit better. If you have 2 pools that are like 2 or 3 reds, on average, you should get close to average within those that you won't need DTTs for both. So even your double arcing ships, if you're at like small red pools, is going to be, it's not quite as effective as LTTs was, but it is still pretty effective mathematically, like on average. It comes down to like when you get into like the 4 or 5, like the 5-ish reds in one attack is when, or over like 2 arcs is when DTTs isn't quite as effective as what LTTs gave us. But I'm going to follow up on like how DTTs works with where I think you should go to fix your red dice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good upgrade.
I'm here to ask the dumb questions.
All right.
Hey, there's no such thing as stupid questions. There's, like I said, we're going to try to get through this. We're getting through this fast. So ask a question if we need to clarify. But moving on from DTTs, high capacity ion turrets. That's the ion upgrade that lets you add a blue die to both of your sides. It's now 6 points instead of 8. It's pretty good, which we're going to get to another reason why it's going to be good. 6 points is now going to be a competitive slot for ion cannons. 8 points is too expensive when heavy ion emplacements was only 9, and that's just a better card. Now 6 points, throw extra blues. Anything that wants to double arc, anything that shoots outside natively, you're looking at having an extra die every time you shoot. Next one, heavy turbo laser towers is 4 points from 6 points. Now, I love this card. I loved it before, but at 6 points, it was just too expensive. Now at 4 points, this is a turbo laser upgrade that lets you, when you shoot, every time you shoot, it's not a crit effect, it's not exhaustible. Every time you shoot, if your opponent braces it, they can only reduce the damage unless it's the only defense token they spent. That means if they want to salvo, they want to redirect, they want to evade, they do anything else, their brace token only reduces damage by 1. This allows a ship to really stick damage through because your opponent can only brace if they want to use their brace to its full effect. Obviously, it's not going to do anything against ships that don't have brace tokens, but it's 4 points.
This card might be the biggest winner. I really think heavy turbo laser turrets going to 4 and it being an actual choice between XI7s if you want to shoot small ships and heavy turbo laser turrets if you want to shoot large ships might be the defining change of this patch, because now there's like, oh sure, you have ECMs, okay, great, I'll accuracy your brace anyway. So do you want to brace and only brace, or do you want to brace and still redirect, even though I accuracyed you and now you only reduce it by 1? Like, you shot me for 11 damage with Devastator last night, and you had HTTs, and I was like, oh, this is a choice, and this hurts. So this card's good, y'all. Good. Yeah.
And now it used to be 6 points, which made it the same as XI7s. I would argue XI7s is just kind of better because more ships have redirects than brace. Well, redirects are more common as a defense token than brace tokens, and so being able to stop redirects just across the board was just better. Because of things like ECMs, like, your opponent is going to reduce damage. Brace token was the best token, so it's always going to get used. Now you have a choice. If you want to save 2 points, put HTTs. Your opponent is now going to be stuck just bracing it and taking the rest on shields. If you hit him twice, like I said, Devastator had a Sun Moon Devastator with HTTs, threw 11 dice, hit 11 damage, and said, "Hey, I'm not even going to accuracy your brace because I don't care. Go ahead and use it. You're not redirecting this damage."
So I think that's good, but I don't think it's amazing still, because a lot of ships that you shoot in Armada don't have braces or have thermal shields. But at 4 points, it's pretty good. It's not A tier. I'd put it in B tier now, though, that it's 4 points.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm glad to see it upgrade. I love this card, and now I get to use it, so I'm happy to see it. Okay. Moving on, leading shots got a 1 point reduction. It's now 5 points instead of 6. That's important for another change we're going to talk about later. But now we're going to see this card a lot more, especially on a lot of Imperial ships that want to fix their dice. And even some Rebel Larges that want to fix their dice. But it's just
mostly the Akbar MC80 Assault is kind of the only one you see that will play leading shots. Everything else, the tie pools are too small. Because keep in mind, every time you spin that hit, that means you lose 1 damage. So your reroll potential needs to be higher than the 1 damage on average that you'll reroll, that you're losing, right? And most ships in the game don't really generate that much additional damage. So. And we've got Kaken and Sholin for a lot of our big punchers, like the MC80 Liberty. So I ran it last night. I don't think I ever actually used it, so
I didn't realize you even had leading shots. Yeah, it's good. It's a good change. So moving on, Overload Pulse dropped 2 points. That's 6 points. So that's awesome. Another card that I love to see.
This card, this is dangerous.
This is crazy.
The problem with Overload Pulse is it was worth its points when used correctly, and the people using it used it correctly, and so now they just have 2 more points to be dangerous.
I was surprised. I was surprised to see him drop this.
Yeah, because this is Overload Pulse Sporting Trooper combo that everyone does. So, which is why I take Damage Control Officer. But this is
exactly.
I don't know if this should have went down, but it's cool that it did.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it drop 2 points when we saw so many other upgrades drop like 1 or 2 points, because I feel like I saw OLP all the time. Especially when I was running a super. I ran into it like every other fight with my super. So, 2 points, that's great. I also use it. So, hey, more to go around now. Reserve Hanger Decks went up 1 point, now 4 points. Still a good card. But, maybe you don't take it on every ship across your fleet.
Yeah,
it adds up.
Worth it. Sloan got hit the hardest. The people who take Sloan with Jindin, because they've lost 3 copies of this at 3 points and Jindin at 3 points. So Sloanless gained 6 points by this card alone, basically, with Jindin.
Sloan also lost Squall, which we'll get. That's on this too. Sloan took a big hit in this change, which I think is probably fine.
And
but we'll say
looking
that
at it from a Rebel perspective, the fact the Z95's 7 points, right? And I get it back at 2 whole, so paying 4 points for that instead of 3 is still economical, but more reasonable, because 3 points to bring back another Z95 activation at 2 whole is not in line with the value of that swarm fighter for the number of whole you're paying, the points you're paying for the whole value that you're getting back for 3 points is it's generating you extra points in your list, right?
Yeah.
So good to see it go up a little bit.
It's still S tier.
Yeah. Definitely still good. It was just a good change. I think that was perfectly fine. RHD at 3 was very cheap. It was almost kind of like a no-brainer. Even at 4, you're saving a squadron that's going to be worth minimum 7 if you're bringing back a Z95. So you're still getting value out of it.
And it is capped at 2 whole now, not 1 less. So the V19 thing isn't as good.
I didn't even realize that change because I only run TIE fighters and interceptors.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Slicer tools. I didn't put this in the big impactful thing because the change is good, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be game breaking. So they changed the Texas Slicer tools. It still does what it did, with a little extra thing. So now what it reads, or the way it reads, is after you execute a maneuver, you may exhaust the card, choose an enemy ship distance 1 to 3. Look at the top command dial sign of the ship. Then you may either choose a new command on its top command dial, or that ship gains 1 raid token of your choice that does not match the top command dial. If the chosen ship does not have a top command dial, it gains 1 raid token of your choice. So this is a really good clarification for Slicer Tools because it gives it a use against like those 1 command ships that have already activated, that now you say, well, I was going to slice you. Now you can still do something with it. It also gives you the opportunity to just give raid tokens if you prefer to do that. Say you're running Separatists and you just want more raid tokens on ships. Slicer Tools is just another tool to get raid tokens. You can put this on, what do they have? The Hard Cell has the support team.
It does.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
So here's why it's big. And I misspoke earlier when I was talking to Chris, but you can start running, instead of battle refits, you take the cheaper Hard Cell at 47 points, take Slicer Tools instead of B2 Rocket Troopers, and you're throwing the same dice pool with a blue instead of a red that misses. So this is interesting.
Yeah.
It's a different way to run TF and potentially.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it. Definitely have to take a look at it.
And it doesn't start the game exhausted anymore.
They didn't change the. You still have to use a engineering token to refresh. Is that correct?
You still have to refresh it with a token, but you used to have to ready it part of the game, but now it comes.
Started exhausted.
Yeah.
No, it's all in all a good change. Good change. I think we'll see it more. We saw it occasionally before. It was kind of like one of those things you really had to have a plan for it in your list. So we'll still see it, but we might see it more. And now it has a little more versatility to it. So good change. Next one, another upgrade I love. XX9 Turbo Lasers got dropped 2 points, down from 5. 3-point drop. Now this is a crit effect. It was Turbo Laser slot with just any crit effect that the first 2 damage cards you dealt were both dealt face up. I think it was like in wave 1. It was a very early crit card, so it just got outshone by everything that came after it, especially in a very competitive slot. Sitting at 5 points, nobody ever took it. Now 2 points, hey, take it. I took it last night on the Psy Moon as my second Turbo Laser, and I only got through once, but it was cool when it happened. So for 2 points.
Yeah, 2 points is the big thing here. Used to DBYs were the cop out 3-point Turbo Laser. Now if there's a 2-point cop out Turbo Laser, it's really useful. In list building on tight budgets where you don't need that Turbo Laser to make your list work.
And there's several ships in the game that have 2 Turbo Laser slots. So it's a good, again, it's kind of like DCO. It's a good secondary sitting at a very cheap option where you just say, hey, I'm just going to throw that in there because I have the slot.
Somebody try Dodonna larges with XX9s. Get back to me.
Yeah, that's potential, right? Something really.
How does that interact? Because Dodonna is when you deal with face up.
One at a time.
Yeah, you draw 4 and you resolve the first one, and then you draw 4 and resolve the second one.
See, that's awesome. Yeah, and let's see Dodonna back. Okay, I thought I had the pretty good column for generic upgrades. You're going to talk about impactful?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Okay. Yeah, I still got the generic upgrades on the screen, so
Yeah. Okay. So first one, expanded launchers drop 5 points.
This is huge.
This is a big deal. So expanded launchers is an ordnance slot that used to be 13 points. Modification, it adds 2 black dice to your front hull while attacking every time. 13 points was prohibitively expensive when external racks existed at 4. Everybody basically looked at it and said, you know what? Once a game, I get 2 black dice, but it's a third of the cost. I may only get 2 attacks at close range out my front. Now at 8, you're going to see this card.
Yeah.
I mean,
so all it is the economy of it is the same as X-Rax if you stay there for 2 shots, for 2 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just having X-Rax twice now. Nasty. And if you can build something that's a tank and put expanded launchers on it, like a double defensive Providence, yeah, that's going to hurt. Just hit somebody in the face.
MC-75, the Quat, Star Destroyer, Venator, Imperial Venator, does the Republic has the Venator with an orange slot, right?
We are building the turtle.
Yeah, I mean the Ven 2 has an ordnance slot.
Ven 2.
And a couple. I mean, there's like the Victory can take double ordnance. The Gar Victory. But like the real things that are going to take this are things you can build in the tanks, right?
Yeah.
The Imperial Ven 2.
The Ven 2. Yep.
The more I build on that platform, the more I like it because it still has bombard, and it still can take double. It can take defensive, and you can stack it with Imperial tools to keep it alive, right? Stick an interdictor in that list with it, and projection expert to Venator.
Yep, the Ven 2 can take 7th Fleet Star Destroyer too.
Yeah,
it's the only title it gets.
Yeah,
it's going to be brutal. We're going to see a lot of expanded launch of that thing.
Yep, I love it.
Because I built a MC-75 ordnance that had expanded launchers with X-Rax and ordnance experts on it. Dropping out of Radis is a shit ton of damage. I really think, I suspect that now with all the dice addition being in line for ordnance slot, and the fact that ordnance experts doesn't exhaust and rerolls 2 dice, that on average it's probably the most like consistent damage dealing dice now that we don't have LTTs over-fixing our reds and making them kind of too efficient for you're the longest range and you're super efficient and easy to fix. So now, you're not trading anything off. So now they're going to be a little less accurate, but still long range. And now the risk that you take to be at close range will actually pay off, hopefully. I do think that the crit cards on your double ordnance ships are not playable, because if you have 2 ordnance slots, take X-Rax and expanded launchers and just bomb out on somebody.
Yeah, you might as well, right? You don't need the specialty. Yep. You're already dealing a punch to the face repeatedly.
Right. Because they exhaust now, so your average additional damage from something like assault concussion missiles is only 2, and if I add 2 blacks and re-roll them, that's 3. So it's just not as efficient.
Yeah. Now that, and we're gonna get to this very soon, but now that PDICs is also, we're probably not gonna see it as often. Black crits, maybe black dice, I think, are back in baby. So, we saw a lull after PDICs came out. We saw a lull in black dice ships, but there's been a lot of good changes, I think, for that close range brawling, which, I love to get up close and personal. So. But
I'm having to learn that style of play. I'm not a big fan of getting that close, but last night I did it.
And it feels good when you.
There's a lot of ways to play. Yeah, it's so good when you can get up, and I can't wait to do an expanded launcher Devastator Quat Star Destroyer, and really get those double-digit dice pools just consistently. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be awesome. I hope you're ready, Garrett.
If you think about it, we've been in a very long range focused meta since Onager.
Yeah.
So now we're back closer to kind of how the game was in original 1.5 before the Onager and that kind of stuff, which I didn't play that much of. I played a little bit of. So I remember my old MC75 ordnance dumping on people when you could do the crit effects every round with assault concussion missiles, and you just double arc somebody and you blasted the shit out of Garrett. Like I did that to him a few times when Agate was new, right? So I'm glad to see that play come back because it's definitely been lost in the current meta we've been playing.
Yes. But drumroll, the biggest change, the most controversial.
Probably the most impactful change is linked turbo laser turrets. Yay! Everybody's staple turbo laser is now, for half the players, not even playable. So they changed it now, guys. It's still 7 points. Now you can reroll your red dice versus squadrons, but if you have the bombard keyword on your ship, you can also reroll your red die versus ships. Now, the bombard keyword came out in Clone Wars, so the only ships that have it are Republic and Separatist ships. And the Imperial Vendor, too.
Yeah. And there's only, it's the Acclimator 2, Vendor 2, Imperial Ven 2, both the Munificence, the Providence Dreadnought. And that's it.
Yeah, that's it. So linked turbo laser turrets does not do what it used to do for majority of the ships in the game.
No.
So we're going to see this card coming out of a lot of lists, which, again, I think this is a good change because it's going to free up that slot. Garrett?
And there's one last nerf, because now you can exhaust this card to add 2 dice of any color like before. All ships can still do that. However, now, if you activate your ship and use that ability, when you get attacked and you salvo, now you can't use this card to reroll your salvo red.
Okay.
It's exhausted.
They did not.
Okay.
They did not. Have they clarified that exhausted cards don't function at all? Because it doesn't say as long as this card is unexhausted.
The card's exhausted. You can't use it. So that's one more hit.
There should be some clarifying text on that says while this card's unexhausted,
there's
this
no
happens.
Room. There's no more room for any more text.
They already got like the size 7.5 font on it. I mean, I get it.
I think it's pretty to me it's obvious that it's exhausted. The card's no longer in use. But you're right. It could be a good AMG forum question.
Yeah, that's how I read it first. With exhaust, so you can't use it. But technically, cards that you can't use unexhausted will specify that you can't use them unexhausted. Like Spence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or swivels. I think I don't play Clone Wars ships, so
swivels is not comparable. It's not the same.
Yeah, it pretty much stays where it's at until you ready it and move it.
Right.
LTT has 3 different abilities on it card.
Yeah.
With an exhaust now, halfway down.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Yeah. The card's a mess. But it's pretty good, I think. That's how I understand it. Maybe Dennis will clarify it for us.
Sure.
You'll probably ask him. But yeah, LTTs. They went from S tier to S tier for some people.
Yeah. I was like, depending on the list you fly, it may not have changed anything.
Yeah. Republic gets LTT, but no PDICs.
Yeah. For all of us, Galactic Civil War players, get it out of your list. It's just not worth it. I don't care. I'm not spending 7 points to reroll my red dice when I'm attacking squadrons.
Listen, Imperial Ven 2 can take LTTs, expanded launchers, and X-Frac still.
That's true. That's what we got. That's what we got. But now LTTs, it's gone. Now the turbo laser slot is open, right? So now you're going to see XI7s, you're going to see HTTs, you're going to see DTTs. And that's why, DTTs got a big buff because now it's your only dice fixing turbo laser for a lot of lists. And this is also why leading shots is going to be a lot better for, your Rebel and Imperial larges because now you need your dice fixing. You can't rely on LTTs to fix that one die. You're going to take leading shots, fix your pools.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that now comparatively, turbo laser reroute circuits by far the best in class if you want to do damage, right? It's just by far the best. But like now, the best ways to fix your red dice are intensify firepower and Confire tokens. Because most ships don't have a die pool that's large enough where you need more than one Confire token to fix your reroll. So when you're doing your planning about how you're going to get tokens, what you're going to give out, and what 3 tokens you're going to hold on your ships, really you should value Confire tokens maybe higher than engineering, depending on what your ship's doing. Because in that one turn where you get that double arc, having the reroll on station, pretty important. As the LTT, the biggest LTT enjoyer here, honestly, I'm glad it's gone because like you look at the card, like I'm a competitive player. I look at the card and I go, oh, well, there's no question. This is the best card. You just run this. It fixes like this problem and this problem and this problem. So we just right. So to see how the math of the upgrades has changed and LTTs going away, making it where I go, okay, do I want to fix my reds with dual turbo laser turrets? Do I want to add dice with quad battery turrets? Do I want to attack my opponent's defense tokens with like HTTs or XI7s or XX9s to do like push more damage? Like this is a healthier game state for competitive play because you can build your ship to attack a particular angle of your opponent's fleet and has a particular mission objective when you play it.
I totally agree. You're going to see a lot of it's going to be like before like LTTs. I remember, and I know this is before we even played the game, but like I remember reading about like Imperial 2s with quad battery turrets and leading shots, so that they could add the blue die to then spend on leading shots to fix all their die pools. You're going to see that happen more often.
Now,
I
want to throw out there is one generic upgrade that I kind of expected to see some changes to, and if nothing else, just point value that did not happen, and that's thermal shields.
No, listen, I will defend this again. All right. Thermal shields are fine because they only work on one token. And they only work against fleets with big dice pools before they add.
I'm just saying I expected to see it. I was a bit surprised, but
ECMs work on everything. EWS works on everything. Thermals.
The only reason fucking thermal shields isn't broken as hell is that you don't have any double redirect. But you still have like tranquility
or double brace. All right, there's none of that. None of that nonsense.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's only annoying versus Luminara, who's not that great, and then a good Grievous player. Then it's annoying.
I think it's still okay. There's so many ways of adding dice. The one thing that gets me with thermals though is that because of the timing of it, thermals gets around Intel Officer, and now that we're going to see it more, thermals gets around heavy turbo laser turrets. So, that's what kind of gets me sometimes, where it's like, hey, you're going to cut my die pool in half, so that upgrade I took is just not going to work in you. And that always hurts to feel, but that's the game, right? That's how the tech works. People will take tech to counter other people's tech. You got to be prepared for that.
Thermals are good for the environment because they prevent stuff like onagers from running rampant.
Okay.
I mean, an MC30 prevents the onagers from running rampant.
Yeah, but that's the MC30. That's a ship.
Go kill it.
Yeah, thermals work for large and medium ships for cloning.
Yeah.
They can't. Could you imagine? Imagine if you could put them on pelters. Then you all would be crying the blues.
It's a band-aid for not having enough ships in your factions, really. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Unkillable.
So what do we got next?
Yeah,
NK7.
All right, so NK7. NK7. This upgrade was cool. So it's an ion cannon, ion slot that used to cost 10 points. It's a blue crit when you attack somebody, you exhaust it, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't even think you need to exhaust it.
Yes.
Standby.
Yeah, I don't think so. I never ran it. Never ran
Yeah,
it.
it's an exhaust. It's an exhaust, but you don't got to pay to exhaust to refresh it. So it readies itself.
But it is a blue crit. Your opponent the target of the ship chooses and discards a defense token. Discards, doesn't spend it. It's gone. Now that happens after the spend defense token step, whatever. So your opponent can just spend their, token and then just chuck it. Is fine, whatever. It was hard to use because of the timing of it, right? And your opponent's always going to choose the least useful defense token. So you really have to hit them with it 2 or 3 times before you're going to start seeing like, get rid of your brace token. Now it's only 6 points. So, hey, it's in that competitive range where, maybe you take it.
And absolutely buy on this card. Buy this card, put it in fleets, crush people. Like, weapon battery text is only 4 points, okay? If you have a blue pool that has 3 dice in it and weapon battery text, sure, your first shot you pop their contain off, okay? That's fine, right? If you have like boarding troopers and this, and you go, okay, well, we're putting you to red. We're going to shoot you with my MC-75 in the double arc. Please excuse one of your tokens, like 3 of your tokens from the game. Good luck living after this round. Like this card, I think is going to be good if we see a big heavy meta.
Listen.
And what it's looking like local is a big heavy meta.
Listen. Interdictor, decaps, NK7s, greed, 2 more raiders, decaps, NK7s, architects to kill. You lose all your defense tokens in 1 round, and then the architects finish these off.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Disgusting.
It's going to see, again, this kind of just harkens back to a lot of the changes. We're going to see a lot of upgrades that haven't seen any kind of table. Get your binders out, guys, because
I'm just realizing that I'm doing this show with people who are mean.
Oh, yeah. It's disgusting. Yeah, just mean items.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see this in the standard like Rebel Kraken list where you've got MC30, TRC 90, 90B float, and you'll see like NK7s on that 90B maybe. Maybe we'll see multiple of them. They can't like actually get the crits. They can't like fix for the crits. But I mean, it's a speed 4 engine teching 5 blue dice NK7s. What 40, 50 point ship that goes.
This is going to be an Imperial thing, is what this is going to be.
Probably.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
They have so much
twos and interdictors.
Imperials are really the blue dice faction, weirdly.
Is it weirdly?
They have the option.
I was like, Rebels are the red dice faction.
Yeah,
clearly.
Rebels do turbo laser stuff, generally. Yeah.
I feel like that is reversed. I feel like that should be reversed.
Nah.
I get what you're saying, Chris, but that's just the way the game design is.
I get it. I'm not mad about it. Yeah. I'm just thematically speaking.
Yeah, we just don't have lots of weapons teams, really. Like, we don't have a lot of weapons teams, and we don't have a lot of ion cannon slots. It's kind of weird. We've got a bunch of, like, mixed pools, but not really ways to, like, go, oh, got you with the crit. Ding!
Yeah, I'm looking through.
Make the damage average.
The only ship that can even do the trick would be the assault frigate. It's not a great way to do it. I mean, you could do it on the MC-80s, but
I feel like that would be a waste of an ass frig.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a good slot for Rebels.
Yeah. The armor is the only one that can like apply it all at once. Because then you have dual turbo laser turrets. You're re-rolling your 3 reds out of your side. You've got 2 blues. You've got weapon battery techs, NK7s, and you've got 3 blues and 2 blacks out your front. So when the armored comes in, you go ping ping, and it's like super efficient and burns one of your tokens off.
Ping ping.
Yeah, it's not a lot of damage. It's only 5 dice, so it's not going to really do anything.
Yeah, this is going to be a decaps raider and interdictor thing.
Yeah,
it's really annoying.
That's stupid. Decaps interdictors, like, watch out, y'all. They're in your neighborhood. They're coming for you.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to rebuild my shenanigans from the ground up because so much has changed now.
New shenanigans.
Like it's new shenanigans, yeah, new shenanigans, everybody. Okay, moving on though. We're not
Make
even
your
a
own
quarter of the way through all the
shenanigans.
upgrades. Okay,
I just want to say real fast. I'm sorry. These guys were delusional enough to think that we were going to get through all these upgrades in like an hour.
I never said that.
I knew what
I just
we were
want to
signing
point that
up
out.
for.
I was throwing. I'm good with two.
I'm fine with a 2-hour episode. I'm just saying we're not even a quarter of the way through there, and we're 45 minutes in. Okay, so another big change: point defense ion cannons. They're now 6 points, up from 4. I think that's pretty healthy. I think that's probably fine. You're still going to see it, but
Well,
you're
going to need these now.
Yeah, definitely. With all the black dice changes, you're still going to see it, but you're not going to see it on every ship with an ion slot. Now it's the same points as NK7s. It's the same points as Overload Pulse. It's more expensive than leading shots. And it's the same points as high capacity ion turrets. So now your ion slot is not an automatic 4-point PDIC. So
Yeah, it's still good, but yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna put it on like I'm still probably gonna run that in the quad Star Destroyer that wants to get up close, but you're not gonna put it on just like, you know what, I've got a medium ship that's gonna hang back that doesn't need to get close, but I'm gonna use PDICs in case I get bombed. No, you're gonna say I'm not spending 6 points in case I get bombed. I'm gonna take something else. I think that's a good change. It's like, again, like how you said, it's going to ease up on the black dice pools, which is going to help that close range combat come back. We're going to see a lot more black dice coming back into the game. So I think that's a good change. Any comments?
No, we're ready to keep moving.
I agree.
Yeah, I have no argument.
Moving on. Rapid launch bays no longer needs a squad command.
Fantastic.
And I don't have the change in front. Do you have the change card? I don't have the text in front of me.
Basically, all that happened, guys, was they removed the squadron symbol, so you don't have to use a squad command to activate this card. You can just discard the card and offload all your squadrons. That's all it's changed. I can double check distance on it. Now this happened to me one time years ago. I can't remember what I was flying. Maybe Plo Koon. And I couldn't offload my stuff because somebody slicer tooled me, probably Nick, at some mean point. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's the other thing. It also got buffed. Here's the big one. At the old one, it was distance 1. At the new one, it's within distance 1 to 2. Fantastic.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it gives you an extra pump.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Good card now.
And
really good card.
Before you think that like that doubles the distance, distance 1 meant just a tiny bit of it could be touching the 1 marker. Now within distance 2 means it has to be fully within that marker.
It's like when you're deploying your squad.
You still get like an extra maybe extra inch. I think an extra full inch probably.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's enough, right? It's enough to do.
That's a lot when you're talking about
when you got speed 2 B wings.
Yeah.
B wings and Arc 170s.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but nobody flies those.
It changed.
I think this card is probably the most unknown, at least for me, because it's very dependent on what people come up with for if this card is good and where the meta goes. Because we haven't seen that often. It's not a card that people have like really extensively tested competitively or like used competitively. And it's gotten some considerable buffs, but like losing the deployments is kind of an issue. It can be. It's for like very aggressive players. Like if you're an aggressive player that wants to like really be on tempo, attack the enemy, don't really care about deployment advantages and playing like kind of like KG Armada, this might be a good card for you to look at.
Yeah, I think it.
Plo Koon,
the squad command,
Commander Wolf, rapid launch base.
Yeah. Gonna be bad.
Now, and I do want to clarify too. So because you're not like now you're just discarding it, right? So the way it worked before, you have a squad value, you spend a squad dial, and then you drop your squadrons, right? Because the way it reads is for each squadron you would activate.
So you had to make this work good, you needed to use a whole dial, not just a token, the whole dial, because it was squadron you would activate.
And so now, though, that's why I'm kind of wondering. So let's say I'm navigating, right? I'm not activating squadrons, so I'm dropping them. They can't move, right? But they're not activated. That's why I don't have the card in front of me, so I need to.
Yeah,
I really
it can't
want to
move.
read.
It can't move, but it can attack, right? It can attack, and that's why this
But
1 to 2.
in that turn.
Yeah, you can still activate it.
Okay, still activates. Gotcha.
It just cannot move. But that's why this distance 1 to 2 really matters within, because now you can reach out and have room to put all your squadrons in an area to attack, which was a big problem with the distance 1 thing, is you couldn't hit everybody in the arc that you wanted to shoot at.
That's actually
incredible.
You
can't wing commander move and then rapid launch bay because it's not a squad command.
Well,
that is interesting. Yeah, because wing commander
Yeah,
because it's
tough
when you reveal a
questions.
command. It's when you reveal a command. You have to discard it. So you lost the ability to move and then drop them.
Which is
right. But
really painful, but a better usable card in the end.
Yeah, but now you can. So before, one of the problems with rapid launch base, especially if you had like a large ship, you had to know your timing of it, right? Unless you were doing something like, I'm just going to squadron like 3 times in a row. You know, like you didn't know when you were going to drop them. Now you can just kind of navigate, and when it's opportunistic, you can just drop them while navigating, confiring, engineering, whatever. And you can also command other squadrons. You can still squad dial, discard this, and then command other squadrons from behind. This is also really going to be good for, like, I might take this on like an ISD2 with like just some interceptors. And if I'm dealing with somebody who has a lot of bombers, I'm going to wait until those bombers get close. And then on my turn, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to drop these. Yeah.
It's another buff for Radis.
It's another.
It makes you like
it's another
40. It makes
Let's
you
all just play Radis.
Like, oh, don't worry, Chris. You're seeing Radis next week. Get ready.
You're going to see Radis popping a lot.
Because now you can load things on to an MC-75. You don't have to do a squad command to offload them. You just rapid launch base them. Do all your shenanigans. And then during the squadron phase, then they activate by themselves.
That's so fun.
Radis plans. They're going to hurt other people. Hopefully.
Yeah, so rapid launch phase, very good. It was only seen in some niche lists. Now I'm really thinking like, hey, if I'm not using my offensive, I might consider that. That's pretty interesting. There's a lot of versatility with that now. Yeah, that just hit me, the gravity of that change. Okay.
Moving on.
Rapid reload. Moving on. Rapid reload. Ordnance slot. Modification. Adds 1 black die out both of your sides. It dropped in half. 4 points from 8. I love this change because now I'm thinking this might. I mean, I'm probably not going to not take Extract or Expanded, but this has a spot on like Raider 1s, Victories, Gladiators, other ships that aren't Imperial, probably. It's 4 points. So it's the same as Extracts. If you know you're going to use it, MC30s, maybe. You know, they have those wide sides. They love getting those doubles. You just have extra die. If you've got 4 points, you don't want to spend 8 for expanded launchers, and you're thinking, hey, this ship's not going to attack more than once. Is that?
I've been carrying around this rapid reload art for like 7 years. And it can finally be used.
Wow. Yeah, 4 points I think is really healthy for it. Adding 1 black die out of your side. I mean, again, black dice had the problem of being close only, so you only get a couple shots in a game. Now, 4 points, it's a lot easier of a cost to eat. I think it's a great change. I think again, it just makes it competitive for the slot.
Yeah, the being on both sides is what really like kills it in my opinion, because its math is on point for X-Rax, but because it's spread, there's just like very, very few times in a game where you're actually going to get the Akbar slash and hit somebody out of both sides. Now, Torpedo, Akbar, maybe we can get that, like, instead of doing the like one big burst with X-Rax out of one side, you jump the Torpedo between two ships and you blast them from both sides. Maybe? I don't know. I'm pretty low on this card personally.
Ships that like it. Ships that like it. Gladiator. Okay.
Yeah.
Gladiator can use it. Raiders can use this. Victories can use this. I think that's it for Empire.
Can Victories move fast enough to get close?
Haro does.
Sorry.
I was say you take Harrow.
I just had to take the cheap shot, okay?
Yeah. For Rebels, this is not bad for a Hammerhead that could stay alive, potentially.
Yeah, maybe a Hammerhead.
It's not a bad card. Honestly, it would be okay on an MC30 if you plan on fishing around.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't really see anything separatist that really want it.
No. Separatists don't do a lot of... Like, your Black Dice is like your Providence. And, like, technically, Patriot's Fist does Black Dice, but it does it in weird ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for Republic is...
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. The Victory...
Yeah.
Well, here. The Victory's potential, if you don't want to take it... Okay, here's where you take it. If you don't have the points for Expanded, you take Rapid Reload and X-Rax.
Yeah,
that's a good combo. You can also fit this on
the double arc
Acclimator too. If you had a Acclimator that's not a swivel, listen, your Acclimator speed is it's speed 3, but it maneuvers like a duck. So it might actually get some use out of this card if it can stay alive and stay in that spot long enough. Yeah, nah, it's another win for Empire, for being honest.
Yeah, it's a small win. I don't think it's going to be like a big game changer, but
I don't think we're going to see a lot of it still.
I think Empire has the most utility with it. I might try it on some Raider ones, just see you get in there, blast something. But yeah, X-Rax, for a lot of small ships that may just die, you're trying to trade up, X-Rax is going to be better for that one shot and then blow up. Rapid Reload, you really want to get at least 2 shots out of it. So unless you're flying through 2 ships and shooting out both your sides, you're not getting the same bonus. But 4 points, much, much healthier than 8. So
it's at least in line. So maybe it'll show up in a fleet somewhere and do good.
Yeah. Okay, so that is all of the generic changes. Whew, 1 hour.
One big generic change is the rules clarified when you're measuring line of sight on squadrons. It's center of the squadron to wherever you're measuring line of sight to. If that's squadron to squadron or squadron to ship, it's center of the squadron to the dot.
Not closest to closest anymore.
Right. And then the other impactful thing...
There's a couple things.
I don't think anything else was like groundbreaking. I think that's the only really playtime important one.
Yeah, there's a lot of clarifications and stuff. The Armada changelog that the updated rules reference has a lot of just clarifying text that just helps things that if you really, really dug in the rules, you may already know, but if you're learning the game or just starting out, or just some things that just have changed over time that we never really got one consolidated fix for. The rules reference update is really good for that too. I think that deserves a read from everybody, but we're not going to go through all that. That's just a lot of small, minor text clarification. Whew,
Definitely
okay.
read the rules.
Moving on. It helps. It helps to know how to play the game.
You can play a little bit and you'll learn the basics, but like once you get a decent grasp of the game, I really think that like you need to read the actual rule book twice to really get to grips with how the game works.
All right, you guys ready to talk about Rebels?
Yes. Yes.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. So talking about factions that won in this update. Okay. Let's start with the minor stuff. And granted, okay, I'm not a Rebel player, so this is my opinion on things. Sorry, Reuben, you can correct me if I'm stupid. Minor changes. Champs Dula, they updated his text.
It just
it's now.
You just actually look at it says look at the whole dial and then reset them, so it just like makes sense. Not a huge thing.
Yeah. Dodon's Pride was it's a CR90 title. It dropped 2 points. It's not 6 anymore.
Fine.
Now it's 4. It's fine.
A blue crit, so you might not play it now, although it is cancel all dice, deal face up. So like, maybe you like NK7 them for 1, and then if you get the NK7s on the first one, you shoot them out the side, and you get the 1 crit, you cancel it on the large, so now you pop one of their tokens off, and now you just deal face up.
Yep.
Maybe.
And hey, maybe that face up discards another defense token.
Yeah, maybe.
And if you have Dodonna, you can make that happen.
That's why it's Dodonna's Pride.
Yeah, minor stuff. The E-Wings dropped 1 point. They're 14 from 15.
You call that minor? Pretty big change.
It's a 1 point change, so it's a big change for the squad mix, but there's not a lot to talk about it. Unless you guys want to discuss squadron composition, we can do that.
We don't have that kind of time.
I haven't deep dived. I think it might be good. It at least opens it up comparative to the X-Wing. Because the X-Wing at 13 and the E-Wing at 15, the E-Wing's not playable. E-Wing at 14, maybe. And the Lancer also went down 1, and it's at 14 as well. So it compared to the X-Wing, like you trade a hull to gain a speed and rogue and bomber, but you lose a blue die. So like now these 3 squadrons are closer to each other in parity. So hopefully it opens up some other ways to play Rebels, because really Rebels squad comps are pretty stale.
It gives Rebels speed 4 squadrons that they can afford.
Yeah.
And snipe.
I mean, it's a good change. It's just not. I didn't feel like there was a lot to talk
about. Squad stuff is so much synthesis to like really figure out. Oh, is this actually like super impactful and good, or just like fine?
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I put a lot of squad stuff in minor changes because I figured the squad stuff is going to be talked about more holistically at the end. So
we're all fine here. How are you?
Yeah. Other minor changes are all squadron based, but they're so Keelan Farlander dropped 2 points. I'll be honest. I had to look him up. I didn't even know who this was. He's a B-wing. While attacking, if the zone has no shields while bombing, you can reroll any dice. He's got a 2 black bomber. He's 18 points now.
I put Kian in a list last night when I was building a B-wing MC80 command pushing list, and I came up short on points, so I put in a more expensive squad. But at 18 points to reroll any number of blacks out of a B-wing, I mean, it's playable.
Yeah, it's playable, and especially with PDICs maybe not being as prevalent, your black dice your black bomber has definitely got a big buff with the PDIC change. So this might be pretty strong. Maybe we'll see it. He has the problem with just the B-wings in general being speed 2. So
yeah.
Okay, and then the other change that you talked about, Lancers went down a point as well to 14. That makes them, again, like you said, more competitive with the X-Wings. It's a good change. I'm not saying just because it's minor doesn't mean it's bad.
They're just weird ships. They're only 4-hull. They're speed 4. They're bomber and rogue and 3 blues. Like, I just don't know. I was thinking about them two
They
nights ago when
exist.
I was trying to go to bed,
They exist
and
so
like,
Ketsu can live.
yeah, I guess because like the minute they get near double flak ships and they try to bomb, they get confettied. So I don't know. Don't know about these ones.
Happy New Year.
Not as good as E-Wings. But yeah, Foresight.
Yes.
Foresight.
Foresight, your MC30 title. It's now 10 points up from 8.
Worth it still.
Still good. I mean, that's a great title.
The ability
You see it
change
on.
too.
Did Foresight change or that was admonition?
Admonition
You can-
change.
Admonition.
Oh, Admo is the other one.
I think
They
Foresight's
yeah.
Made them both 10. So that's
I
how my
didn't think
Akbar
Foresight
was.
changed.
Okay.
Yeah, it just went up. It went up 2 points, but again, still good. You're fine. Yeah. Home one dropped 2 points. Now 5 points for home one. MC80 title. It lets you. I see this all rebel stuff. I don't know off the top of my head as well. Reuben,
When a
take it
friendly
away.
ship is making an attack, you can add a red accuracy to the attack pool.
Okay.
So like it helps the rest of your fleet. So this card at 5 with the changes that we're going to talk about to the Rebel Larges, I think it's more impactful now because as we've seen, a bunch of upgrades have gone down, and based on what I'm seeing about what my meta of fleets are, that means that pretty much everybody across the board has changed one of their flotillas into another small ship. So we've got more ships in the game that are actually like credible, real ships that shoot. And if you have that, now you have home one to say, okay, I'm running like 3 TRC 90s. Now they also all just always get accuracies, bang, bang, die. So,
Yep.
Good card.
Yeah. ECMs is going to get exhausted, like just overworked real quick. So it's a good change. 2 points down again with everything else changing, which we're gonna get to the MC80 changes on the impactful side here. So I'll save more talking about that for later. Let's just get through some. Shriv dropped 2 points. He was one of your rebel boarding teams. He did he took the upgrade card, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's the one who's off an upgrade card.
Yeah.
This card is really good. Grell's Honor, Shriv, Hondo dropping out of Profundity off of a Radish drop to say, get your thermal shields out of here, sir.
They also fixed his card, so it doesn't have 2 offensive slots. It's got an offensive and an ordnance slot.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it had a text error. Not that anybody actually looked at those little icons, but
Whoops.
Yeah, I didn't.
We all stopped reading defensive retrofit. Wow.
Just put it in whatever slot you want to. It doesn't matter what symbols are there.
That'd be cool. I want to see a wild slot. Somebody just whatever you have fit, whatever fits. Okay, so another one. Lando Calrissian, 1 point, 24 from 23. Still good.
Still really good.
Is this the squad Lando?
Yeah, squad
Lando.
Yeah. Should have gone up more.
He's not like he's really good. He kills flotillas. He's very dominant in the squad war as long as you time him right, so he doesn't get bogged down and focused. At 24, I actually have to consider taking him instead of just putting him in every single 134 list that I build because he's just great. I think he's fairly comparable now to Dash Rendar at also 24 because Dash Rendar says for everything that I'm engaged with, reroll one of my dice. So Dash can do a whole hell of a lot of damage in the squad war. And Lando is better at like picking up flotillas and guaranteeing stuff in the bombing aspect of it. I think it opens up Corn Horn more to be played, although I think Corn Horn is like a not completed card because he doesn't have any actual rules. So somebody give him some damn rules instead of literally our ace that's blank. It's stupid. Doesn't exist anywhere else. What are we doing?
All right.
All right. Another pretty good change. Mali Kura dropped 5 points.
This is a real summary. This snuck up on me. I did not notice this. I've never looked at this card because it's 26 points. This is a speed 3 double die bomber with a cool ability to generate accuracies for ships like Jonas, or whatever his name is. 21 points, hard to kill, 6 hull, double brace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this with Tycho might up Sato's playability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because what she does is, I think it's important. I don't think people look at this card. Once per activation,
not at 28 points.
While a friendly ship's attacking a ship at distance of one of you, and you are engaged by one of your squadrons, the attacker may spend 1 die to change a die to a face with a crit icon. And she's grit. That's the most important thing about her. She has grit, 6 hull, double brace.
Yep.
So like that Hammerhead APT stuff you like with Sato? Yeah. Scout MC30s? Yeah. Like that stuff. I mean, this plus Tycho, engage your stuff, set things to crits, pull your APTs. Like maybe it's juiced, you know? You got to play it well because it's Sato, and it's the Rube Goldberg machine getting it all to work. But like, playable card.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good change. Again, seeing like pretty substantial cuts to cards that we never saw, ships and squadrons. You know, try it out, try her out, put her on the table, get yourself a Scourge, and I don't know. I'm not going to play her, but
anytime you can guarantee.
That's because you play
die,
Imperials.
Yeah, anytime you can guarantee a die, it's a good thing. It's a good ability.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I had for the non-impactful rebel changes, which there's a lot of impactful rebel changes. No, Nim didn't
already
Nim.
21.
What do you say?
Nim?
Was Nim already 21?
Nim's 21 points, and he's cool, but he doesn't. Melee makes all of your ships have a new ability. Nim is just by himself, but Melee goes across the whole fleet, and that's what makes her good now. Because you can keep using her over and over and over.
Moving on.
Actually, Gary, if you don't mind taking over for a little bit, I'll add some commentary, but I'm going to have to plug my phone in.
Yeah.
If I'm going to continue this.
So, admonition. This is a big one. This is big. So, admonition is now 10 points. Whatever. But what really matters here is we've returned the text to original Admo. But original Admo did not exist in a time period where evades reroll die. Because that was pre-2020. So now admonition can spend any defense token, readied or exhausted, to cancel an attack die. And when you stack this on evades at close, at long, at medium, if you discard him versus a larger ship, you're impacting 3 dice, no matter what, readied or exhausted. This is a monster title for survivability. You combine this, you admonition 1 turn, Lando another turn, like that, MC30 is just never going to die.
Yeah, the Gigadrill, MC30, CR90, or 2 Flotilla Akbar list with close to full squad, it's still probably one of the best Rebel archetypes, just for flexibility, damage output, first player power, second player defensibility. You take H9s, you can play intel, close range intel scan. You have enough squads. Like that fleet composition, if you want to like take the step to a tournament and you want to go from casual play to competitive play, play that fleet. There's two excellent examples from last year's Worlds. You can take those ideas and run with them because this archetype hasn't really changed. It's very, very good.
Yeah. So yeah, amazing. Still S tier, now S plus. Next is General Maydeen. People are mad about this, and some people love it. I love this. This takes a Rebel Admiral that didn't exist, and he exists now. It doesn't do what it used to. Used to, Maydeen, you could spend a token, a dial, and Maydeen and get 3 clicks. Now, Maydeen doesn't need you to nav. So you can get an extra yaw at any point on your maneuver tool without having to do a nav command or token, and you can do something else. So now the Rebels officially have basically a double dial admiral.
Yep.
Now
we've got a
Nick.
double dial sort of commander. We've got Garm, which is like kind of double dials ish. Like we've got a bunch of things that are like do better dial things except jump through hoops. I would prefer us to just have a real double dial commander, but I'll settle for Maydeen because I really like this card's change. I think it opens up a lot of options
For these larges. I mean, this is big for the larges, specifically.
Big and squad pushing, too, because now I don't have to play nothing but Agate forever.
But he still supercharges nav commands, because you can still get 2 clicks with your nav commands.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, this is big. He's a squadron commander now. He's a nav commander still. Sure, you don't get 3 clicks, but now he works with larges. And used to, he was dumb to bring in a large because most of them couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Maydeen, amazing. Draven.
Yeah.
So Draven was 28 points, has a peculiar ability. He's now 20 points. That's what matters here. Another 20-point Rebel Admiral who's more annoying than Dodonna.
Yeah.
Because Draven works all game long. Dodonna only works when you're pulling crits. Yes. I was watching a game last night. 2 games. We had 2 Dravens at our Armada night. Reuben's Draven. I don't know how much he messed up Nick's commands, but
a little bit, not too much.
But Draven versus a Pia SSD executor with all the tools to generate tokens as much as possible, and all that was doing was in an effort to get rid of raid tokens from Draven, so that he could try and do what the SSD needed to do. Super annoying to fly against.
Yeah.
I think Draven is pretty good at when you don't need a commander to supercharge a particular aspect of what your fleet is trying to win the game by doing. Draven is like a solid utility 20-point commander. If you want to lean into Draven, I would suggest bring slicer tools so you can iterate the effect, right? I would say bring Captain Rex to go within distance 3 of me. You can only ever discard 1. Also, I can also put out raid tokens. And I would actually say play Leia Officer. Because now, if you're playing Leia Officer, when you look at your opponent's stack, after your ship's activated, you can swap the dial to actually have response to you having the information of what your opponent's stack is, timing-wise. Because if you can go, okay, well, I know now that they're not planning to squad until turn 3. So that means on my turn, after I've activated turn 2, I can change my dial to respond to the squad dial that I knew was coming. Whereas before I was like, are they going to do turn 3 or turn 4? Or are they going to Navar Engineer or Confire here, right? So then you can look at your stacks and manipulate your stats now that you have more information about the game.
Yeah, so it's great. 8 points is a fat wad of points.
Fat reduction.
Yeah.
Next is Jaina's Light. This went from 2 points to 5 points. Yes. Best title in the game.
Yeah. Like, okay, sure. You literally just didn't take a TRC 90 and not go, 2 point ding.
Yeah,
So,
nobody's
sure.
not going to not take Janus Light still. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're going to keep taking it.
Yeah.
Next
good.
is Redemption. Redemption went from 8 points down to 5 points. This is a Nebulon B title. It so when the rest of the fleet does an engineering command or dial or token, they get an extra point if they're in distance 5 of the ship. This stacked with things like the new engineering team and MC Exodus fleet has potential.
I think you do maybe one of them because you don't win games of Armada by being tanky. You win games of Armada by being maneuverable and killing the enemy. So my redemption isn't an issue. Then the Nebulon not getting a change is the issue because it's overcosted and it's like cardboard layout is just unplayable.
Yeah, it's a difficult ship. The only thing it can really do, I think, with this title is projection experts and be far away from the battle and just send shields.
Yeah, but then you've got more than you've got around 80 points of your fleet not contributing to scoring you points in the game.
Right. It's I think I did the math. It's like you're paying 10 extra points to do what a Pelta does for the Republic.
Which is
and it's not as survivable as the Pelta.
No, like the only thing it has on the Pelta is it's speed 3.
Yeah.
So you got to be even more careful with it. It's not great. It's not amazing. But moving on to now the biggest and most exciting things for the Rebels. This is the least exciting, but the Assault Frigate Mark II-A went down 4 points from 81 to 77. Now this is closer in parity to its brother, which is 72 points. So now there's just a 5-point difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. Reuben, you've been trying to find a use for this Assault Frigate 2.
So I flew frigate last night. It was the one that had the body block to cut across my side of the board to get to the Simoon, and it had to go fight. Well, it had to get shot by 2 Architects to go do it, and it just kind of evaporated because it also landed in the double arc of the Simoon. So assault frigates don't live when they land in double arcs of Simoon. It's got decent die pool, but it doesn't have stellar die pool. It does decent damage, but it takes it 3 turns to do decent damage once it's got its double arcs online. It's just a weird ship. It's got the upgrade bar and it wants to push squads with that upgrade bar, but it's only got 2 squads when you're bringing the A version. The best thing I can think of so far is finals, ECMs, and have intensify firepower somewhere else. Because now it has all of its pools, 360, are all the same. You can't outflank it. If you get into its double arc, it'll hit you with 6 reds. And if you're at medium, it's 6 reds and 2 blues. The IF fixes it optimally for the 3 reds. And you've got stuff you can do with the weapons team slot, and you can do an offensive retrofit or something. But it feels like a utility ship that you put 2 upgrades on, and you want it to do enough damage. But when you put 2 upgrades on it, it doesn't really do enough damage because it also is still kind of soft because it's brace, redirect, evade. So the ECM gets you bracing, but I don't know.
Not great. It's not great.
It's not
compared
great
to the B, it's still not going to get taken that much. But for exciting stuff, the MC-75 Armored went down from 104 points to 99 points. This is an awesome all-around ship.
This thing might be one of my new favorites. Well, I've loved the MC-75 for a long time. Rogue One's one of my favorite movies. Radisson it dropping out of hyperspace, assaulting Scarif is one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars media. And this ship was not good at its point value before. Two contains absolutely killed it. Now, you can build a legitimate squad ball that you will then flight controllers and kill people with this thing.
Yeah, it has the perfect upgrade bar.
Yeah, it's got the perfect upgrade bar. It's cheap comparative to the ISD-2. It has 10 die pools, so you're in the same range of the double arcs of all the other major capital ships. The Venator 2, the ISD-2, you're good. You're close ranged, but like you've got everything you want. You can take horde pods if you really want to support the flank. You can be more punchy. You can bring all expanded hangar bays, flight controllers, dumpster people with this thing. I think it's probably still wants Agate more than the other commander options for squadron because of the brace redraft.
Yeah,
but
you don't need it though, because Waylix can take the place of needing Agate.
Because if you want to play Medine, bring Aspiration, Medine, Waylix, or ESTs, right? I think I've played Aspiration before the buff. I think it's a good upgrade card, and people undervalued it for like when you're doing Squadron MC75.
Yeah, this is the most versatile Rebel Large now, I think. Easy to fly, easy to build, easy to fly.
The only problem is it's hard to get the double arm because it's got a really weird front arm.
Yeah, but now that you're pushing squadrons with it potentially, it makes up for a lot of it. But now its sister ship, the Ordnance. This thing is ridiculous. It went from 100 points to 95 points. Listen, this is Ollie's bargain basement prices for a large.
So this thing's the same price as Rebel 1.
This is Recusant level prices. For a ship that has double ordnance, a defensive retrofit, a offensive, a weapons team. It has a black flak die still. This ship is going to be an absolute menace.
This flat.
They wanted people to play 75s.
Yes,
yeah, you're going to see him now.
Yeah, for sure. Like you used to see the armored with Radis as like a flak boat, like Last Worlds, because you either see the Liberty or you see the 75 armored. But now, if you're in the right meta, which is like larges, you can drop an ordnance on their large, and then you profundity out a hammerhead, and you go, please take this dice vomit. You're not going to kill me in one round. Die. So it's going to shoot hard. Only note, you got to figure out a way to fix the reds. It's probably Ramus, so you get the conquer.
Yeah. Unless you can fit an IF somewhere into your fleet.
Yeah.
But when you're chucking, what is it? 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 black dice with a Confire, with expanded and X-Frax. And that's not counting the blues and reds, okay? The blues and reds add another
somebody's dead.
15 dice. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's amazing. Now the true, this is the best. This is the only thing I care about. Behind me, as you can see, the MC80 Assault went down 4 points to 110, and the MC80 Command went down 4 points to 102. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now they're. It seems stupid that 4 points would make such a big difference, but it really does. It makes all the difference in the world when you're building these fleets.
Yeah. Oh, and I think all of these changes, these point reductions add up with all the point reductions you're seeing all these upgrades too. So, like, again, like we said earlier, it's just there's going to be more Armada to play. There's just more points to go around for everything. So the Rebel Larges are in such a healthier spot.
Yeah, you're actually going to see Rebel Large fleets outside of Radis.
Oh yeah, totally. Because now you can bring like one of the MC80s with 2 or 3 upgrade cards on it is the same as the ISD2 at 120. So now you've got a ship with actual tech on it, equaling the naked like gold standard of the game. So the command like pushes 5 if you put expanded on it. So it's a really premier squad pusher for not um, flight controllers ships. So your B-wings, kind of your bomber stuff, because the 3 red, 3 blue out the side isn't the most damaging thing, based on my experience last night. So you definitely want to have those extra squads in there to really push your side arc or double arc damage really, really high.
So has that taken care of all the rebel stuff?
That's
Yeah.
it.
That's it for Rebels. So yeah, huge buff to this faction. It basically everything can be played now except for Nebulons. It's the only ship in the faction that just doesn't have a real place.
Yeah.
I think Peltas also really suffer from not getting a points reduction.
I think Peltas are helped by the fact that everything else went down.
And
I
think
don't know
Peltas are helped by the fact that. Go ahead. Garrett?
You talk.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the Pelta is also helped a lot by the fact that it's your most reliable fleet command.
Right.
the
You
only
can use it all
command.
game.
So
I just think they should have come down like 2 or 3, probably. The Peltas, they'd be more playable.
I think it would have been a weird chain reaction, actually. Had the Peltas went down, I actually think it probably would have put Rebels over the top. If you want my honest opinion, because if you could fit a Rebel Pelta in with a couple larges with IF, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but
Yeah,
I'm not
too good.
talking friggin' GAR levels of Pelta economy of scale. I'm talking like a point or 2.
Yeah. But Gar Peltas can't take fleet commands, so
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen fleet command on the command one, but the command NC80, it would have been nice. Oh well, I'm like so to review for everyone, the Rebel Providence and the Ordnance Cruiser are 95. The MC80 Star Cruiser is 96, and then you've got the Armored at 90. What, like 99, right?
yeah.
Somewhere around there. And then you've got the MC80 Command at 102. You've got the MC80 Battle Cruiser at 103. And then you've got the MC80 Assault at 110.
110.
And then you've got your Starhawks over that, right? So when you look at this, what it means is that your relative trade-off of your defensibility and your speed between the Liberties and the Home 1 variants are in line with each other. And your relative lack of defensive tech from the 75s is in line with the Liberties. So everything has a place now. You just have to pick the right purpose for your large ship, and you have to pick the right admiral to support what you're doing. I legitimately think all of these ships are probably playable. I'm most iffy on the Liberty Star Cruiser because it's just both of them are too dependent on agates still. But the Star Cruiser and the Battle Cruiser, when you put like Kagan and Sholin, SW7, Final Armaments, XI7s on them, they will shoot extremely hard.
So what do we have up next?
well, if we're
Get into
going
the Empire.
Empire,
That's what I thought.
I'll take my go for this one, Garrett. So,
No,
I'm gonna
you're
go
kidding.
through some of the minor changes pretty quick. Some stuff just got fixed to be more affordable. So titles, the Corruptor is a victory title. When you're squad pushing, your bombers that you push with your victory get +1 speed. It's pretty cool. It's now 3 points instead of 5. Cool. I'm still taking Harrow if I'm taking a victory. Like it's cool they made it cheaper, but I'm not gonna take it. So
This would be so sick
Stronghold.
in 2016.
Yeah, Speed 5 TIE bombers. But yeah, so it's I don't know. I'm not bringing a victory to push squads. I'm generally. So next, Stronghold Quasar title, now 3 points instead of 5. This one lets you, or this one is when your squadrons are defending at distance 1 or 2 of your Quasar that have the swarm keyword. All their attacks are obstructed, or while defending, all attacks against them are just obstructed. It's cool. It's a cool title. If you're at the point where your Quasar is so in the fight that you have TIE interceptors distance 1 or 2 of your Quasar and they're getting attacked, you have played very poorly. Something
You're
bad
doing
is
it
gone
wrong.
Something's gone wrong. Your Quasar should never be that close. What, Garrett? Yes, sir?
Well, this made me think about the Assault Frigate Mark IIA. Okay, it's now that if you take Gallant Haven, you take the Mark IIA because you have the 2 blue anti-squad flag.
Yeah, but you're only commanding 2.
Yeah, but that's not pushing the squads. Your GR75s are.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's just
Anyways,
defending the squads.
back to the Stronghold. Your Quasar's already dead, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like my Quasar, if my Quasar is in, my interceptor is not that close to my fleet, generally speaking. The reason you take boosted comms on a Quasar is so that it can stay away from the squad fight. So Stronghold being cheaper, again, kind of like Heavy Fire Zone, it could be free. I probably still wouldn't take it. But and also Pursuant is 2 points, and that's just better in pretty much every case. Which Pursuant is a Quasar title that once per game you can discard it and you can push squads as if you spent a dial. So you set your dials up so you can navigate or engineer and then also push squads. That's what the title does. 2 points, better than Stronghold. Okay. Squadrons for Empire. I'm just going to rattle them off real quick. The Aggressor Assault Fighter went from 15 to 16. Cool. Still going to collect dust on my shelf. Garth Saxon went down to 20 from 20 to 3. Neat. I might try them once. IG-88, both versions, and B. They went down to 19 from 21, which is great because I never flew them. Now I flew them once last night.
Got eaten by worms.
It was cool. He got killed by Exegorth, so it didn't matter. The Mando Gauntlet went down from 18 to 20. That's pretty good. Honestly, that one I can kind of see maybe having a place. They have 7 hull. They're rogues. They have 4 hull. 7 speed. Or 7 hull, 4 speed. 18 points, pretty good. They're generic, so even 7 hull will disappear pretty quickly under some sustained fire. But then Whisper, one of your TIE Phantom aces, went down to 18 from 20. She's really cool because she throws 2 red dice, and you can take her with Sloan. And she's got Cloak.
There's 3 official alt arts of Whisper, too.
I like her. I like her as a squadron. It's just that Empire has the issue of, we have a lot of good aces, and so you're not going to see her because you're taking everybody else. So
I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen. I was surprised that we didn't see more changes on the more popular squad ball. Bumping them up in points. I mean, Jen didn't.
We got some other changes.
They did go up in points.
Yeah, I say we'll get to this. I got all that lined up. We're gonna get the Imperial Squadron play. Okay, so commanders and other stuff. Admiral Screed went down 2 points. He's now 24 from 26. That's good. That's fine. He's fine at 24. Now that PDSCs is not going to be around as much, he's going to be more useful. When every ship had PDSCs on it, you typically took Screed with gladiators, things that had crit effects. And so you'd go up close, throw your black dice, and your opponent would have you reroll your crits. And so Screed is just spending a die to set a die and then have that die get rerolled is the worst feeling. So 2 point drop for him is fine now that black dice are going to be more popular.
Hey, he works on reds too, right?
He works on he works on anything. So, you have to spend a die to flip something.
So yeah, that's not bad for the lack of LTTs, right? Hey, listen, Screed's great at 24. He was okay at 26, but now at 24, right? He's like,
Yeah, I do have a list I want to find now that all these changes
I have to step away.
Okay, we can keep talking about
Yes.
the Orange Star Destroyer with the super heavy composite turbo lasers to just have Screed just say, you know what? Here's just another crit in that pool. Turn 2 hits into a crit and take another damage. I think Screed is fine. He was, like you said, he was fine at 26. He's competitive at 24. Because now you can do some fun ion crits. Like that could be a list. Interdimension Raiders just doing blue crits.
NK7 Screed.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think he's going to see some play. He just also has the issue of there's a lot of really good Imperial commanders. Speaking of, Darth Vader Commander went down 2 points to 34. This is awesome. I flew him last night. It was a ton of fun. 34 points is expensive, but being able to re-roll all of your dice pools just whenever you want, amazing. I had him on my Simon with the Devastator title. I was able to get all 4 of my defense tokens off and then throw an extra 4 blue die with Devastator out my front with Intensify Firepower. And then the Vader Commander just saying, like, I'm going to spend a redirect token. And then, I burnt my redirect token so that I could add a blue die on my attack. But, yeah, just it's fun re-rolling all your dice. So Vader at 34, it's great. Has 2 points you can put somewhere else. Dominator, what's that?
I said it hurt. It hurt. 11 damage really, really hurt.
Yeah, and the thing was it was the Architens too. That you bring supporting ships. My Architens were throwing dice and saying, "Oh, spend my contain, re-roll anything I want to," and then all of a sudden, I was doing consistently 4 or 5 damage with Confires. So, Vader's going to see play now that LTTs is out. We're going to see more dice fixing from other sources. Dominator title for the victory went down 5 points. It's only 7 now.
This was comically expensive. Comically.
12 points was the second most expensive upgrade in the game. So when you're at close to medium range with a victory, you can spend 2 shields from any hull zone to add that number of blue dice to your attack pool. So I get why it was 12 points, because early Armada, they were really cautious with like anything that added dice, right? But a lot of upgrade cards do that now, and a lot of upgrade cards help you with dice fixing. So adding 2 blue dice is not as impactful as it used to be. So 12 points was outrageous. 7 points is good. I think a Vic 2 with, you have to be at close medium, so you can't use decaps. But a Victory 2 that flies in alongside a Star Destroyer, I mean, burn 2 shields at your rear, and all of a sudden you've got 1 die less than the ISD 2. Or no, same number of dice. You had a 5 blue and 3 red on a Victory, on a medium ship. So I think it's fine. I think it's going to be good. I'm going to try it out at some point.
Boba Fett. Boba Fett. On Dominator? Okay. No one's going to use it. Boba Fett. Boba
Fett dropped 2 points, which actually makes him... He goes from more expensive than Darth Vader and TIE Defender to less expensive than Darth Vader and TIE Defender, which is crazy that he was that expensive to start. But he's in a fire spray. He throws 2 blue bomber. He's got 4 blue... a blue-black bomber, and he's got 4 blue in his squadron. Double braced with 6 hull and 3 speed. His ability, though, is when you activate him, you deal 1 damage automatically to any ship or squadron at distance 1 of you. Can't be scattered, can't be reduced, because it's not an attack, so no defense tokens. You just go top 1 damage every time he activates. And he's a rogue, so you can put him where he needs to be, set him up for next turn. And he's gets to shoot. So awesome. He's 2 points cheaper. I love to see Imperial rogues, and they were just so expensive. And well, let's be frank. If you're taking squadrons with Imperials, you're typically pushing them with Sloane or Thrawn.
I'm so excited. This 2 points is so important for him.
I flew him last night, and he did a lot of damage. So
yeah.
Gazalti assault cruisers went down 2 points. So now you can take your assault variant of your flotilla and throw red die at the front. And if you confire, that's 2 red dice. The other big thing about this is it upgrades your black flag to blue flag. And that's kind of a big deal because typically you're not going to be worried about attacking with your 1 red die. Although, let's say you're taking General Ramadi and you want to throw a red dice at long range behind a debris field, you turn 1 red into 2 red, you confire a 3rd red. You're throwing 3 red out of a flotilla. Well, that's also doing a comms net or something, or whatever. 2 points is great. I'm going to try to run them. I don't know where I'm going to fit them. Okay, so now the really impactful Imperial changes. Now, we did not win like the Rebels won. In fact, we lost. We lost a lot in these changes, but I think they're all fine. Governor Price got a point reduction. She's now 6 points. However, they changed her text so that when you spend a shield to set a die, it cannot be set to an accuracy. She's still good. Obviously, the guaranteed accuracies were amazing. That's why a lot of people took her. That was a big part of her utility, was just getting an automatic accuracy. If you're doing some of this other dice fixing, you're not going to need it as much to get the accuracy. So you can just flip your reds to crits or doubles. You can flip black dice to doubles. You can get your NK7s off. I mean, you can make your crit effects happen. And that's why, I primarily fly her for crit effect, guarantee. But losing accuracy, we lost a point on her. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I defended original price quite a bit, but I definitely concur with the change because of the problem was you could put her on stuff that could set 2 dice with 2 different abilities to accuracies, and that's where it was annoying. Onagers specifically, right?
Yeah.
Being able to guarantee 2 accuracies feels real bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
She's still once per activation.
Well, I know that.
But
I meant you could stack
her, yeah,
like H9s or sensor team stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I ran price with sensor teams on Onagers.
Right. Yeah.
It was stupid. Yeah.
This price change, I like that she's turned into a crit / just damage instead of accuracies thing because it's just too good to be able to set an accuracy. But I also think that her being this way now opens up your weapons team slot to not just have to be weapons battery tech. Now you can play gunnery teams on your ISDs and still have like 2 sources of die setting, which is important for the ISD.
Well, like I used her with heavy turbo lasers last night and flipped a red to a double and just said, you can brace it. Like, that was part of that Devastator pool, was just Price can just flip to a double. So, she's still great with red.
Uncool.
She's still good. I think this is a fair change. But not having accuracies is going to change kind of her role in a lot of fleets.
Yeah.
These next 3 changes we're going to talk about all at the same time. Your Arc-10s got some point drop. So the Arc-10's light cruiser is now 52 instead of 54. So 2 points back there. Your command cruiser went down 4 points to 55. Now, we also got the Hand of Justice title dropped to 2 points down from 4. Now, Hand of Justice, I think, is underrated because the way it reads is when you activate this ship, the Arc-10s, you can refresh a defense token on another ship at distance 1 to 5. There's so much utility there. It's kind of silly. That means your flotilla can scatter an extra attack. Your ISD can brace another attack. You can't refresh your ECMs, but it lets your ESTs get another reduction on your double redirect ISD. So you can reduce damage once, reduce damage twice, refresh the Hand of Justice, reduce it a 3rd time before you have to burn any tokens with ESTs. So 2 points is awesome for a little support ship that you're going to tag along, shoot at long range, and then keep your big boy alive. and now your Arc-10s are all cheaper. It's just like you could literally put this on the light cruiser, and it was just like it was before.
Yeah. What a fun surprise. I had I never thought these were overcosted. These are dirt cheap. 52 points for the Architect's platform that you can put slave turrets on. What?
Mm-hmm.
It's cheap.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Thrawn Lifeboat ISD2 that's commanding squads now with Hand of Justice. If you can fit it with Hand of Justice and the Architects instead of the Corvus Raider, like, that's good. It shoots. It refreshes the defense token. Like, it supports the ISD. Thrawn sitting on it. Like, it's just good.
I need to run this, but 4 of these with Vader and slave turrets. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Game over. All right. I think that's going to be really good. That's like what is that? 2. That's like 10 points cheaper than it was a week ago.
Than it was last week. Yeah. I think I think it really gives that, and that's what we saw, right? Rebels got a little bit of large play back, right? And Imperials got a little bit of MSU play back. So we're going to see, I think a lot of Architects are going to pop up just to try them, just to see like what you can fit with that ship now.
Yeah, Evan, our man Evan up in Ohio, Indiana, he's going to be a menace with his Architects again. He runs like 5.
I was flying one last night with Heavy Turbo Laser with Vader Commander, and so I was con-firing, throwing 4 reds.
4 defense tokens.
Yeah. It was all. I was just spending and contain, re-rolling my dice, and doing like 4 or 5 damage, and saying, if you brace it, you can't redirect or evade it. It hurt. And it hurt. Like, it was just like consistently 4 damage. Brace it 2. Okay, that's fine. You're taking all in the same. I'm just gonna keep shooting that same hull zone. So it was good. So now we're gonna get into some of the nerfs we got hit with. So Officer Darth Vader went up 3 points. Yeah.
I can't believe this came out as a 1-point card. I can't believe
you got it.
I know. I don't know if they knew what they were thinking back in like whatever wave 3 or whatever wave that was when he came out. They didn't change anything about it. He still chokes out any officer.
I feel like when they came out with him, they never thought you would really want to get rid of an officer.
Yeah,
there's so many officers that are perfect.
Yeah, but we had a stack of skilled support officers, skilled first officers that murdered and Nita. I know, it's really funny. 1 point, and it was any number of dice in your dice pool. There was no limitations.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I know. He's still good. I think at 4 points, but you really got to think about it now. He's not going to just fit on a flotilla like he used to.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. But Commander Vader got cheaper, so maybe you just do that instead, Okay, Squall, everybody's favorite Quasar title, went up 4 points. Squall's now 7 points to, when you activate, grab 3 squadrons at close medium range, push in distance 2, they can't end engage. It was awesome. Everybody loved it. It got used way too much. As unhappy as I am to see it, I am fine with this change.
I think this is so more expensive that it won't get played now. I don't think you have room anymore in the list that had it. I don't think you do.
I'm gonna start taking Pursuant and just kind of changing how I fly my Quasar.
Yeah. You just don't have room. 7 points is a lot for Squall.
Yeah.
And it makes your Quasar more expensive, and that thing is already a pinata.
Yes. Yeah. You don't. Yeah. It's if anything firm runs into the Quasar, you're gonna lose it, and I don't want a ship costing me 80 points.
Well, I mean, especially with how all these small, fast ships seem to be able to hit harder now. So, yeah, they'll run down that Quasar and just poof.
Yeah, now that every Reuben player is able to fit a whole other CR90 in their list. And then to top it off on the Imperial Squad game, Colonel Jendon went up 3 points. He's now 23 points. It's fine.
Very
He's
appropriate.
Still good. He's still good.
And he
I
has
think a lot of
ability.
people, yeah, I thought a lot of people were expecting the ability to change.
I think he's fine at 23 because he's more expensive than any squadron you're going to be double tapping with. So at least, I mean, except for Darth Vader, Tie Defender, but at least he's closer to that cost. So you're doing it twice, and you're paying for it twice instead of just being the same like cheap. I think it's cheaper. Merrick Steel is 21. I think right. So
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
21 points.
at 20 points, I use Jendon for relay all the time. Um, he's still going to be good, but 23 points. Now the Squalls, yeah, now that I'm not taking Squall, maybe I'll put those 3 points in the Jendon. We'll see.
I mean, you're gonna have to. It's not like you're not gonna take
He's
Jendon.
yeah, exactly. I'm not going to not take Jendon, so I just have to find the points somewhere else. And then another big thing: the Victory 2 for the Empire dropped 5 points. Now it's down to 80. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to fly it. I'm going to try to fly. I might try it with Dominator and maybe some Commander Vader and some of these new cheaper upgrades, because now instead of a Victory 2 that's all set up to kill something, costing me like 105 points, it's going to cost me like 94, 95. That's going to feel good when, it gets hit and you remember it's a medium ship.
Yeah, Paul's fleet up in Cincinnati, Interceptor. His fleet got buffed with this.
Yeah. Yes, he got a lot of points back, I think.
He did.
I remember his list.
He is eating good.
Yep. So that's good. Again, I think that supports kind of the more MSU, like instead of the big heavy focus we had in Empire for so long. Now we have options. So.
All right, so we're moving on to Republic or Separatist.
Yeah,
we can do Gar.
Garrett,
we can do Gar.
You want to do Separatist since you fly both of those?
I can do both of them. We'll start with Gar. Like he said. Yeah. He has a minuscule change. Anakin's Y-wing went down a point. Yeah, it's fair. Anakin Y-wing is if this was in any other faction, it would be taken all the time. Because he doesn't get locked down, and he added 2 bomber, double die bomber, and he was amazing. 6-hole, double brace, yeah. But Deltakin exists, so this card sits in your binder now. Anakin Y-wing down 1 point. I don't know. Does anybody got anything to add to that?
No.
I think the other 3 people here have so little experience with the Gar that.
Yeah, poor Anakin. He was really cool, like back in 2021, right? All right, and then Kit Fisto, tragically replaced by Deltakin. Okay, he's down 2 points from 26, which was absurd. He's now 24 points. So now he cannot be taken at 24 points. You're just never going to take him. You're never going to take him. We have Axe, Deltakin, Ahsoka, and any other better ace for better points. He can stay with Plo Koon and Luminara in the binder. Oddball. Yes. Now we're talking. 23 points to 20 points. Arc 170, brace evade. This thing's not dying. Okay? Oddball is not going to die. 7-hole, brace evade with Axe in the same squad ball. You are not killing him. He gets to re-roll his double die bomber. This is gonna get some play now. 20 points for this. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on Oddball?
I think it's good.
Your typical squad ball is like Axe, Ahsoka, Anakin, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you're doing like 4 Arc 170s, a generic V19 is typically how you tend to play, or you're playing like 9 Y-wings, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically turning 2 Arc 170s, well, like what, 1.5 Arc 170s into Oddball? Is that how the math works out, points-wise?
You lose 5 points. And essentially, you take 2 generic Arc 170s and Oddball, and then Anakin, Ahsoka, Axe, and then fit the rest Y-wings.
Okay.
Because they're so cheap. But, Oddball and the 2 Arc 170s that are with him, it's going to take you forever to kill those.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. It's going to get even better as we go along here. All right. Acclimator. The Acclimator 1 went down 2 points, 66 to 64. The Acclimator 1 has one purpose. It only exists one reason on this earth, and that is to take boarding troopers with expanded hangar bay and X-Frax. That's all it's there for. It's there to send in with a giant package to explode, and then it blows up with its boarding troopers and hits you as hard as it can, and maybe it flies away. Probably not. So now you can build it for cheaper. What do you guys think?
No, it's
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of acclimators because of the double Venator Pelta, the Victory's fat. I mean, it's good. I think it's welcome change. Maybe people put more acclimators on the table.
I don't know. I mean, 2 points on that. I still don't know if it's going to see a lot of play. But
with Anakin is its only option. But like I said, boarding troopers, Anakin, X-Frax.
Yeah.
Now here's the big one. This is big. I don't know why I put it in little, but
because I don't fly Republic.
The Charger C-70 went from 45 points to 42 points. This ship is so cheap now. Yes. This thing can throw 2 reds out front and side. It's 42 points, speed 4. You can load it up with upgrades. It's got some great titles. Yes, this is a fantastic change. This is another buff to Anakin. And then the Gar Vic 1 also went down 2 points. This is a hard ship to use. It has a better upgrade bar than Imperial victories, but it's not amazing. But the Gar can take spats on it, which is interesting. Yes. But it still can pop like a balloon. It's really risky to run still.
Yeah.
But in our vein of Anakin buffs, Anakin himself, the general, went down 4 points. There is a couple Anakin lists out there. Eldred in France, and locally Xantos up in Ohio, Damon. Their lists gained like 10 or 12 points after this from the C-70, Acclimator, and Anakin. General Anakin is really good at 27 points. He's really good with the rerolls and now everything cheaper. You can fit some really expensive upgrades that don't cost you any more than they used to because your ships went down and Anakin went down. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Again,
I think it's great.
I think it's.
I think it's a big. Yeah.
Reuben goes first. What do you say?
All right. Well, I'm glad to see MSU options out of Gar. I think that them getting squad buffs at all is maybe a little much because Deltacon's so good. But hey, if you have a different archetype you can possibly play competitively, hopefully other people will play that, so it's not just constant oppressive Gar squad ball. We'll have to see.
Yeah. MSU and squad play has been expanded. All right, now here's the next big one. This is really important. Clone Commander Wolf has been fixed. He now gives assault to squadrons without adept, and while they have assault, they get to spend their hits or accuracies to activate raid. A raid token on a ship. Now here's why this is important. You take this card with Plo Koon with an Arc 170. You throw 2 blues. All right. You add an accuracy with Plo Koon Admiral. You use that accuracy to assign a raid token. You're still a double die bomber versus the ship. You do that with 3 more Arc 170s. And now you've assigned 3 raid tokens and 6 damage to 1 ship in 1 turn. And then here's the best part. He comes with a free squadron token to refresh himself, I believe, before I put that my foot in my mouth or whatever. So now you get again, either to the same ship or a different ship. Because they might be like, oh, I'll just clear all my raids by ditching my command dial. And you're like, nah, not today. And you do it again. Yep. Super cool. Clone Commander Wolf has a point now. He's only 6 points. That's neat.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Neat.
We just talked about Republic officers, and I was just like, man,
Yeah.
they had something there, and we don't know why they decided to restrict his assault ability. So I'm glad that as soon as we talked about it, they released the errata, said, we heard you guys.
And then Mercy Mission, to everyone's cheers, has been raised from 0 points to 5 points. Now, you still get the same amount of points for killing it, because it's worth 5 points and you get 15 points instead of 20. So it still adds up to 20. But it costs the Republic player 5 points to put it on their ships now. But good news, they got those points on their Charger C-70. So everybody wins.
Yeah.
So Mercy
That's
Mission.
That's kind of why I put the C-70. It's still good. It's still good when you're going to do, if you're doing it, you're going to do it. You're going to take the C-70, you're going to take your Venator and Mercy Mission. That's going to be your strategy for the game, is to get 40 points.
Yeah. If
Paying
you're doing
5
this,
for it, I think is fair.
It's how you play it. I don't love playing Mercy Mission because I feel like I can't use my ship because I have to make sure it lands on the other side of the board. But it's like it's the meta way to play to get your 40 points. I get it, but it's just I don't have as much fun doing it.
Yeah, very.
I would love to see more
that didn't see a nerf like the other ubiquitous cards, so I'm questioning a little.
Yeah, I'd love to see more. I really like Mercy Mission. It's good competitively, but I like it because of it reminds you of what Star Wars is, right? Whereas the Republic are flying past a separatist blockade to, do a mission on planet side. I wish more factions. I wish they had more cards like this, and every faction had some kind of prize card that you could include if you wanted to. But
yeah. Awesome. Now the next one is General Kenobi has been lowered from 28 points to 22 points. Officially, the Republic has an affordable Dodonna-like commander. This is dope.
Commander, yeah.
This is dope. Those 6 points, it's good. Very good. Now Kenobi is Damon. I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but if he does, he's a staunch Kenobi. He's like, you can use it. And in my head, I'm always like, yeah, Damon, but you're really good at flying Armada. Of course you can use it. But now Kenobi at 22 points can fit in a tight list, and his ability of spending fresh defense redirect tokens, reduce the damage by 1 plus the effect of the token, combine it with ESTs. This is good. His tax for using him has went down.
Yeah.
I'm just excited because he's cheap. It's cheap, I guess, is what I'm excited about.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing with General Anakin, right? Typically, obviously every commander, the cheaper the better, but these squadron and MSU commanders, you want to have a cheap commander as much as you can because you have to spread those points somewhere else. Kenobi kind of fills that role of. Honestly, he doesn't fill the role, but he helps you with that kind of I want to do vendor squad pushing, and I want to put more points into the actual squad pushing and squad ball. Now you have a cheap commander option instead of. You probably still take a Yularen or a Bale, but
yeah, it's something different to do.
Yeah.
The last thing they got was the Resolute title. Went from 6 points to 4 points. If you take one Venator, you take Tranquility. If you take 2 Venators, you take Tranquility and Resolute. Resolute went down 2 points. This was already a good title at 6 points. Anything that gives you command tokens is always worth all the points usually. So this is just you spend a command dial and it matches a token on the card. You get the token. It's really good. It's really good for feeding Spats, which is usually what you're doing if you have 2 Venators. Gar. But they also got hit really good by the generics, because Gar can still take LTTs on most of their ships that matter, i.e. the Ven 2 and the Acclimator 2. But they can also benefit from everyone else having to pay more for PDICs because they can't take Pidix. But then also almost all Gar ships can take Ordnance. the Venators and Acclimators. So, yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
You love to see it. But next, we're going to go over to CIS.
Now, I gotta say, this is the part where I'm excited because, while I still like Imperials, I've been focusing a lot on Separatists lately, and I'm really excited about some of these changes.
Separatists are just fun to fly.
A big win.
Yeah.
Separatists are just a joy to fly. There's nothing overly cumbersome about any of their fleets. They're just killing machines at all times, which I think is just really fun. This is correct. Lucid Voice in minor changes went from 8 to 6. Lucid Voice is a weird Providence title. It's the only thing in the game that changes salvo because it changes the actual printed armament on your rear to 3 reds, and then you gain black dice on your left and right, I think, or maybe it's a blue dice. Whatever it is, it's like the third Providence title you'd take, compared to Invincible and Invisible Hand.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not great. Because there's not a lot of ways to dice fix reds, right? You can take LTTs, but then you got 3 reds. So you're going to fix one of them? So it's better just to have Pain Bow. The red, blue, black.
Yeah.
All right. And then Flak Afric. This is the CIS Tri-Fighter. That when you end your activation at distance 1, not engaged, at distance 1, none of this like hiding on an obstacle garbage. At distance 1, you take a damage. He went from 19 points to 18 points. Okay. All right. I'll take it. Damn. All right. They're already good. That's a Brace Scatter Ace, okay? Hard Sell Battle Refits went from 52 points to 50 points. These did not need to go down at all.
No.
Okay.
I will take it.
Yeah. Another 2 points in the bag. TF fleets are going to love that. Asajj. Asajj is the weird officer. This is the 3rd time she's been changed since she got released. She's now 2 points, and she takes a raid token off an enemy ship and gives a command token of your choice to one of your friendly ships at distance 1 to 5 or whatever.
She's just in line with all the command token generating officers at 2 points.
I mean, she's a little cheaper. She's okay. The reason she's not going to take it a lot, but the CIS has the ability to take 2 officers on hard sell transports. So that's if you need a way to generate tokens for whatever reason from Dooku or TF, she can go in those fleets and do something. For 2 points, that's very cheap. She's a Hondo, right?
Right.
Speaking of Dooku, he went from 30 points to 27 points. And he's a very successful admiral on a competitive level. So
he does some stuff.
Interesting. What do you guys think about Dooku going down 3 points?
I mean,
I think it's good. Go ahead, Chris.
I still think he takes a lot of finesse to be able to do well, and this is coming from experience of actually playing him. So the 3 points will always help, but 3 points in a player who is already successful with him, this is dangerous.
Yeah, Dooku is a thinking man's objective admiral, and he's just 3 more points to play with, man.
I think 27 is good. I think. Yeah, what's up?
Him as a defensive kind of control bidding admiral, getting 3 points on that when you want to be at like 12 bid, so that you could they have to choose your abandoned mining facility or surprise attack. Really, really good.
Yes, exactly. It adds to the bid, and then you don't have to give up good upgrades.
Yep.
Next is the Invisible Hand title. Now, this is really interesting. So 2 things happened. It went down a point from 9 to 8. The second part is they fixed the text. They fixed the text to where your squadrons no longer have to get deployed within the 2 to 3 band on a range ruler. Now they can get deployed at distance 1 to 3 from Invisible Hand Yes. I didn't get to play this last night, but I cannot wait to try out this title with the way it's meant to be done. Because now you can put the squadrons, because the limitation was it's like rapid launch base, where you can't put the squadrons in a place that they can't move and attack. They can only attack. So now you can put them where you need to go, and then get attack with the extra bonus AI dice. So you get AI on top of AI. So you drop a vulture out of Invisible Hand, and now instead of 2 dice, it's going to throw 4 dice at him. And with flight controllers, it would be 5 dice. There's some interesting play here. I don't know if it's going to be like super competitive, but there's players out there who could make this, extremely good, especially with a certain admiral going down in points too. Yeah. And so speaking of Invisible Hand,
personally,
what'd you say?
Invisible Hand. So you're dropping 4 reds out of a hyena?
Well, they gotta have swarm is the problem.
Mm.
Yeah, you can either do tri-fighters or vultures.
Yeah. Huh. You'll always get the alpha, and that's important for CIS squad balls. Maybe?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to play around with that one.
It's interesting. All right. Providence Carrier, the ship itself, went down 3 points. Listen, this thing is already a monster because it has a amazing pain bow front and side, and it can take double defensive with the invincible title. I've flown this thing. It is crazy hard to kill with thermals and early warning systems, and now you have room for more upgrades on your support ships. Yeah. I don't know why they buffed this down to 3 points, but it's good.
Can't speak a lot about Providences. I haven't flown a lot of Providences. I don't like their movement profile, but
be careful. Once you start flying them, you can't stop. Now the big ones. This is what Nick has called the big ones. Trench, our illustrious double dial commander, has went down 4 points. On top of the other 57 point reductions for CIS. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You can fit so much into these bad boy lists now. Trench at 32 points is killer. Because now he's better than Thrawn.
Yeah.
Because you can use him 4 turns, and his dials do a dial and token effect. Wowzer. 32 points. Amazing.
I mean, there's not anything more to say on that. That's just
I was going to say, he's still conditional. That makes him different than Thrawn because you have to spend the token. So you have to have the token beforehand, but then you get a token dial. It's still great. He's still really good.
But the thing about the CIS is they have so many token-generating tools.
Yeah.
It's not a problem at all.
Now Asajj is 2, so yeah.
Yeah, it's you're gonna see Trench. He's still gonna take, like you said, he's still gonna take some finesse to play, but I mean, it's pretty it's not that much finesse, right?
Yeah, I think Trench is gonna replace Grievous as the squadron commander, because anytime that you can navigate, repair, and squad at the same time, that's what wins. That's what wins games, right? The next thing is Sandhill, another card text fix that makes the card usable. This is big. So he comes with 2 squad tokens. He's 3 points, only 3 points, and you can stick him on a Gazanti. You can stick him on a hard sell, and when you activate squadrons, you can take a token off Sandhill's card and activate an extra squadron. Awesome. And you can do that twice.
Yep.
What a wicked cool card now.
Yep. No, it's such a good play, or such a good move from where he was. It was cool where he was. They're trying something new with him, and I always like that. I always like to see something innovative. But this is just good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think the big thing you're going to see here with Trench is Gazantes with flight controllers. Okay, that when they have a squadron token on board and there's Sand Hill nearby, they're going to be doing 4 squadrons from a single Gazanti with flight controllers. That's good. That's good.
Good.
For 31 points, 30 points. 30 points. 30 point Gazanti with flight controllers. 30 points. Push 4 squads. Awesome. Continuing the buffs, continuing them. DFS 311 went from 18 points to 16 points. This is a Vulture Droid Ace that gives out intel. Unskilled First Officer uses this in his Grievous list for the intel and moving around hyenas, moving around Watt, moving around the vultures. Brace Scatter for 16 points. And his attacks, I believe, are treated as obstructed. I think is his ability, something like that.
Yeah, while defending, if the attack is obstructed, you can have your opponent reroll a die.
Yeah. So he's got that going on. Just another point. 2 points to add to the stack. And then, like we just said, the CIS Gazanti went down from 27 to 24 points.
And granted, in my current build, I do not have a Gazanti, but this is the change that I think has been most needed, just because at 27 points, I didn't like it. It didn't do enough for me, but this change makes this a playable small ship.
Okay, you could take a naked Gazanti with TF, like in your fleet, and with a Confire dial and a target with 2 raid tokens, you're rolling a blue and 3 blacks.
Yeah.
A blue and 3 blacks.
For 24 points.
Yeah. And that's at medium range.
Medium range, yeah. No, and with all the ion cannon, ion slot point reductions as well, you can fly, like a ship that would have cost you like 35 points last week is now like 33.
Yeah. You can put stuff that's stupid on there. Like Case Evans. Or leading shots. You can put leading shots on it and re-roll all 3 of your blacks. What? That's fantastic. Yeah. CIS Gazantis with their weird upgrade bar are extremely useful for the CIS specifically. They'd be awful in any other faction, but in the CIS, they're carriers and they're combat ships. Super cool. And then the final buff of the day, the final thing to talk about, the Providence Dreadnought went from a whopping 105 points down 8 points to 97 points. This thing is going to get a lot of play now because it's got double turbos. You tank invincible, put thermal shields on it. It's got a fantastic side chart and front chart. It flies great with nav commands. Yeah. You can take LTTs, I think, on it. LTTs, expanded. Ordnance experts. This is a combat vessel.
Oh yeah,
it's a brawler.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see like all these buffs, like Separatists and honestly, Separatists, Gar, and Rebels all really walked away from this. Empire got some buffs, but Empire got mostly their good stuff got hit a little bit, which it's I'm not going to complain about it.
A specific gameplay style got whopped.
Yeah, exactly. Like a couple of really good lists got hit, and that was kind of the big changes. Everything else got a lot of buffs. All across the board, though, we saw point reductions, which means the game is just going to change, right? As everybody is going to have more points to put around, you're going to be taking an extra ship, different upgrades that you haven't seen in a long time because now they're just cheaper. We're just in a different game now, and it feels really good to be at this point.
I really enjoyed seeing the excitement out of all of you, especially Reuben, because Reuben. I gotta admit, you felt a little bit lukewarm on things for a little while there, and then you saw these drop, and you just started throwing out ideas, and it was just like, oh wow.
I mean, like, I've never played this game in a position where I can actually like be a meta driver or like really experiment with stuff. Rebels, for pretty much all the time I've played the game, have been expressly the most solved faction. Most of their ships have not been playable at the competitive level. Most of their squadrons have not been playable at the competitive level. Realistically, there was only 3 archetypes through all the components of Rebels, like, playable at the level of Armada that I enjoy at. So to have the game opened up to this extent for me is extremely enjoyable, because now I can actually like do weird stuff and try things, and my knowledge of the math of the game and how to fly actually matters, because I can look at a card and evaluate it and go, this card's actually like really good now, you should really try it. So to be able to like actually build lists, because to be frank, I haven't built a list since this, like, Garrett really built the Liberty list that I've been flying for the past few weeks. So like I haven't really meaningfully built a list since Worlds, probably. That, well, not quite Worlds, probably 8 months ago, trying some Garm double assault frigate stuff.
There's just
But,
nothing
like,
to do, nothing to change.
Yeah, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff wasn't playable. I knew it wasn't playable. You can look at it and go, nah, this isn't playable. So, like, why try anything else, right? But now you can look at stuff and go, you know, maybe you try Sato with Melee Hera and Tycho and some other tech, because, like, you can put the stuff together and maybe it will actually work. Now you can play all the Rebel larges and you'll feel like you're just shooting yourself in the foot when you look at the ISD2.
Man, it's wild looking at the assault frigate and no longer thinking I have to pick this. It doesn't even enter my mind anymore as an option.
Yeah, and like the B is still good. It's still a good pocket carrier. But like now I think you can play the A and the torpedo and the CR-90 and a flotilla and a bunch of squads together. I don't know what admiral you put with it. Maybe the assault frigate A, now that we're talking about it, it's the Sato flagship, because it has the offensive retrofit. It's got the weapons team. It's got the turbo laser slot. You can just change it to blacks or blues and do whatever you need to. So now I'm gonna get in the lab and make that list, right? Just sitting here thinking about it. So
Well,
I've said to my friends that, the game's not too interesting for me because there's nothing to experiment with. And now the game's a lot more interesting to me because there's a hell of a lot to experiment with.
We forgot something. We forgot something very big. Django Fett. Rapid Reinforcement 2.3 in his modified Fire Spray 31. Just kidding, it's a slave one. Django Fett. This is a god tier squadron. All right, 22 points, 6 hull, speed 3, a double die bomber, both blues. His ability is bonkers. While attacking a unique squadron during your activation, you may deal 1 damage to another friendly squad at distance 1 of the defender. If you do, you may change 1 die to any face. And he has 2 reds, a blue, and a black in his anti-squad. He's rogue, he's grit, he's bomber. This guy is an absolute ace. Murder. This guy's going to take Elkin and strangle him to death. He's always going to get the accuracy and block that scatter. Man. Yeah. Ooh, this is dangerous.
Well, we have gone 2.5 hours now, so I think we're going to need to go ahead and do a quick cut on this. But thank you guys for spending the time with me for this, and thank you everybody who's been watching. Any final words on the way out, Garrett?
Have fun building lists. Just keep building. I've built like 100 lists. It's really fun.
Nick?
Oh, I'm just excited. You know, a lot of my Imperial lists have changed a little bit, so I'm getting back in there and just seeing what. Now I'm looking at taking like Whisper, IG-88. Um, we're looking at these ion cannons. Like, I'm excited to see now that some stuff has been taken away. Some of the stuff that you felt you had to take has been taken away. We're free to just kind of roam.
Reuben?
So leave all the stuff that I've told you in these previous episodes about the assumptions about what cards are good and what cards aren't good. They're not valid anymore. Try stuff. Know your math. Try whatever you want. Like, everything's open now. We don't have a meta. We won't have a meta for probably 6 to 8 months. It takes a long time for people to figure out this game. Try stuff. Play what you want. Have fun.
All right. Well, I'll say good night, guys.
See ya.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Apparently, my solo camera has gone dead here, so I apologize for that. But I want to remind you that we will be doing Star Wars Online SWOTR not tomorrow, but Sunday. So I look forward to giving that to you. Actually, wait, we may not be doing that Sunday because of my work schedule. I will keep you posted. Follow us on Facebook. Join us on Discord. Absolutely love to see you. Have a great night.